You got to tend to it like how you tend to a baby. You look after it, it'll look after you.
Foxes, they come and like eat out our hands, and like robins come and eat out our hands, crows come and eat out our hands. We had a crow on our head. He just lived with us for like a couple of days.
If you do ignore them for, a few weeks or a few months at the wrong time of year, it sets you right back.
Mr. Martin died 2 years ago. He was very much up here. He built these sheds. It was a big feature of the place. He gave me my water butt, my hose and so on. And then he was given the plot down there, which is now the city farm, is put under the polythene tunnel. So he had 2 or 3 plots down there, what we call the Elysian fields, because it's much easier not to be on clay slope. It's much easier to be on level ground. When people had a stroke or heart attack and they were regulars, old holders of plots, they'd be offered a plot down there. So that's why I thought it was the Elysian fields. It's a bit Half-Life-ish. Yes, I think it was the dust tip, dust carts used to collect people's ashes and cinders from the fires. So I think it's quite powdery soil, but I know it's very different soil from up here. It's easier, but probably less, I don't know. Mr. Martin used to have some things up here and some things down there according to where they did better.
We inherited an absolute patch of chaos, and there was just brambles, and nobody really cared for it in ages. So that's why we got it, because it was neglected, and that meant that we had a big pile of weeds to deal with, and it's kind of just about de-weeded now, but it had absolutely no structure. It was just a big bit of earth on a hill. Turned it around a little bit. We're kind of trying to flatten it out at the moment, and the next step is to get some scaffolding planks. There's a dodgy bloke with a van and some scaffolding that I'm going to bite off. I hope he's not that dodgy. I'm sure he's legitimate. Otherwise, I will go to the Bristol Wood Recycling Project. Fantastic community project which we should all be going to.
Little plug there.
Yeah. I don't know if we can really grow much over the winter. Can we put some compost in as well? Garlic could pop in. I would have thought it was a bit too late for garlic, but maybe that will be okay. It's going to be a bit of an experiment for next year, I think. But hopefully it will work out, and it's really nice just to come up here. So we'll see what happens. Just get away, and at the end of the day, it's really nice. I've got an hour to kill after work just to come up and just sit, really, dig out a couple of weeds and, relaxing.
because everything was like uniform. So everything had to be done at a certain time. So it's like cleaning up time, like say after harvest, this will be cleaning up time. Getting everything prepared and ready for the winter, for the summer. The weeds up here was, we had to try to eradicate the weeds. So you had to be on top of the weeds. You know what I mean? Not like they do, they come up here, they clean up, and then they go away. Some rainfall, they don't come back until the sunshine, and when they come back, the place is bush. No. You got to tend to it like how you tend to a baby. That's how you got to do the land. You look after it, it'll look after you. Consider the little patch I cleaned out. I got beans, I put in beans, I put in beetroot, potato. So I got something to eat. A few greens. I don't really find much thing don't do too well because you got to work with nature. You can't work against nature. So you can't start at putting what you expect. You know what I mean? You got to work with it. So you put in what you know that can grow, climate, everything. You just got to give it the right condition. Because they tried it, I remember when in my youth days, a lot of stuff that we grow in Jamaica, they tried it over here. It grows, but it didn't bear. There was no fruits. That's just due to the climate and the period of time, you know, coldness. And it don't have that length of time that I had to stick to my books in Jamaica was. You know, my father had a big estate, a lot of people working for him. All I had to do is learn the thing that they're doing. Because he said one day I might be running the place, so I got to know if somebody's doing things properly. So I wasn't doing all of this, what I'm doing now. Since I come over here and coming from Jamaica, this kind of environment is your body feels free. You know what I mean? Because it's either this or you're in the house. And I'm not used to being in a house all the time. Now I feel more free when I'm up here among greens. You know what I mean? Space. And we're not used to it. Because back in Jamaica, we sleep in a house and we go in the house when it's raining. You know what I mean? We ain't in the house 24/7. So when I got my greenhouse and my shed, I'll be spending more time up here. They didn't want me to go away. From my brethren died, I wasn't gonna bother. And they say, no, you can't go. So I said, all right. But I didn't want a piece down where we were. I said, I'll have a piece on the hill somewhere else. So they gave me this piece, but unfortunately it's a worse piece. The worst piece in the market. But I don't mind, because quite a few of the blokes are saying I've done well. To me I haven't, but to them I've done well, considering they know the place, they know what it was. I said I've done well. Yeah, okay. I don't mind. I can clean a little patch, plant something, at least I can get something to eat.
Yeah, I mean, there's a definite, even in the few years that I've been here, there's a definite sort of improvement in terms of the numbers of people, trying to keep things going. It's inevitable that you get people who take plots on and are a bit shocked by it, the amount of work involved. I think that's the thing to do, is to just get on and do it, not worry too much about whether you're doing exactly right. You can figure that out later, really. Most of it's common sense, and it's down to what you want to do, really. What you want to grow, what you're interested in. And what I've been trying to do really is, cultivate things that don't need too much attention. I haven't got the time to do too much looking after and watering. And I think there's a lot of optimism amongst people about what they can actually achieve, and sometimes it involves an awful lot more work or more time. It's not the work, it's the time than people imagine. But I think it's quite positive that the farmer taking things over a bit, and that's made a bit of a difference, I think, and that maybe that'll be a bit of an impetus for the allotment committee to reorganise a bit down in the yard. They've got stuff going on. There's a meeting this weekend about what's going to happen down there, what people want from the facilities, workshops, stuff like that. There's the massive polytunnel now, which is multi-purpose really. There was, I don't know whether you were around then, but a year or so ago there was a big protest alongside the M32 because some allotments there got taken over in order to use for the metro that they're building. And every time a bit of allotment gets taken over, it's like another move in the direction of permission to carry on doing it, if you see what I mean. I'm only using this because I had it left over from my house, I like to point out. Look at that, quality, that is.
Like robins come and eat out our hands, crows come and eat out our hands. We had a crow on our head. He just lived with us for like a couple of days.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, he came to the pub and all. He literally went to the pub. Yeah, Toots. After that, Toots and the Maytals song, it's Take Me Home Country Road, because we thought he needed to go home, but he was actually alright, he was just a fledgling. Oh yeah, we saw him a couple of days later and a little while afterwards, and there's a fat pigeon sitting next to him, just chilling, like guarding the kind of keep. So he was pretty alright, but then we haven't seen him since that. I mean, just looking loads of crows, like, how do you know who's Toots? I was going to give that to the calf, but can't really give it to the calf because it's got like all these little white spots on it, you see them? It just doesn't look like certified good greens there. I can't feed that to the people of Werburghs. Yeah, look at some of these bad boys. Some of them are huge. Like my favourite day to get up here early is Sundays, because then I can get up here at like 7:30 and there's nobody out. It's like a ghost town and it's often pretty nice on a Sunday. It's all about that, getting up early and getting a coffee and or whatever, and then just cracking on straight from the break of dawn sort of thing. This, and I read about plants, and then I wake up and then I look at some more plants. I watch a video about some plants and do some stuff with plants and then go to bed. Look at like individual plants and their sort of characteristics and all, because there's so many good ways to go about doing stuff. But yeah, I had a little bit of a rep for being like a guerrilla garden at the time. I punched a hole in the fence, went and planted salad greens and was selling them to some restaurants. And then the guy who owned the land found out, he didn't even mind. When I was down at Skipchin, you know, there's a Skipchin that used to like get waste food and then feed people on Stokes Croft out of this. I have a little setup there. When I was doing that back in the day, guys just was down there. One of the mates' dads who like started the thing. This old guy Joe, and he was like said he wanted someone to look after his plot, and then everyone said, "Oh, why don't you do it, Joe?" And then I didn't really know what I was getting into at the time. Yeah, they want to have at least some of the land worked well. That's what I like to see as well, you know. Yeah, there's not as many people, like as many farmers as there needs to be, and those guys are proper serious about it. And there's not many people like, yeah, it's 13.6 acres of like the best arable land in the city, or some of the best. It's nice. It's good sort. It's built. There's just not people aren't interested in it enough, basically, or see it as essential enough. There aren't enough like young farmers or people getting into it who want actually. That's what we need, isn't it?
Yeah.
To feed the world, lots and lots of localised small farms. Plantain, but it's a little bit dry. Like the seeds taste like sesame seed, and yeah, it's like a weed that grows around here. But I leave it in.
I've seen that a lot actually.
Yeah, there's two types of it. There's like the broadleaf and the narrowleaf plantain. You can chew them up, right, in your molars, and then apply them to like stings, bites, things like that. And they cool it. It makes a really kind of cooling sensation. So it's like a little bit medicinal, and you can also eat them. But they're like, wow, that's really fibrous because it's quite a old leaf. But they got a really bitter taste to them. You know, they're called dandelions because of the shape of the leaves. It's French dandelion, like dentist, dents and teeth. Yeah. But yeah, it's like just really subtle, especially when they're young like this. And I occasionally leave thistles in if they haven't got too many spikes, because all thistles are edible and they're pretty good. Especially if you get stalks but they haven't got any spikes. If you find a variety like that and you just get the stalks and just like a bit of butter in the pan and just quickly like waz them in that, salt and pepper. But only certain types of thistles that I'll leave in, because some of them are just like spiny big fellas and they're not worth tending to or trying to prepare or any of that stuff. It's kind of quite a wild food. But this is ochre. This is like a perennial tuber from Peru. It's got like purpley, pinky, you get orange and white varieties. I'll just let them do their thing every year. They're like just going to be a perennial ground cover in here. Plus these ones for the salad leaf. So try some of that. Tangy and lemony and fruity. It's like a fruit in a salad leaf.
He's gonna get it. Do you know he's
Yeah, no, we can do that. That'll work.
toys.
Yeah, grab it by the beast there.
Pull it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Praise onion.
That's proper. Oh, it's got a worm on.